Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me for chair yoga. We are on week 9, and today we are on Dharana, Dharana. We are on now, we're just on our road to the last 3 of the 8 limbs of yoga. These last 3 are all about meditation, all about how to bring yourself into that ultimate state of meditation and surrender to that. Dharana is translated as focused concentration. I think that our experience of that is, we know when we do something like a mudra, that you bring your hands into a particular position just so there's some kind of focus on how you've got your hands held. That's one way to focus the concentration that is used, that kind of falls under that category of dharana. The breath work that we do that connects point to point. So when you're breathing from the crown of your head to the base of the perineum, then there's that point to point contact, those kinds of things. I think what's most common in the yoga tradition for this step, it's kind of like a technique of how can I start narrowing my awareness into this very fine point of stillness. That's kind of the ultimate goal of the meditative state is, and so we're on that road with these last 3 of the limbs of yoga. Dharana is most commonly, I think, with a word, that you do that you're saying a word. There's the mala beads that were used, if you're familiar with that, taking the 108 beads on that string and just saying that same word over and over. That's dharana. That's the practice of dharana. So I'm going to suggest today that you choose a word that you can I'll try to remind you. I hope I can remember to do this, but throughout the practice, like maybe when we're working on something, we're in a kind of a holding pattern of one of our postures, that you bring that word to mind and bring your mind into the place you're at. So it will help you focus on what you're doing physically, and also to bring your mind to that single point and maybe that single intention. So that's the words I'm going to suggest you look for, or remember those 4 primary intentions of yoga that we have focused on is vibrant and healthy body. So maybe vibrancy is a word you like, or healthy or strong, so that you choose a word. Alert and focused mind. So maybe you decide I'm going to stay with alert, focused. Loving and compassionate heart. Choosing a word, lightness of being. So I just remind you of those, and if something else comes to mind, you have a whole different understanding or experience for yourself today, please choose the word that works well for you. But those are some ideas of just choosing a word, a single word that you'll use throughout the practice to kind of ground yourself, to bring yourself back to the present moment with that word that you've chosen. That's the experience of dharana. So again, I just want to reference our sweet book, that Morning Cup of Yoga. She has this quote in her meditation essay that I wanted to bring to light, Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." That's the meditation. All right, folks, let us begin in a standing posture. How about that? So we're coming back to the chair. I'm coming back to my chair, but I'm using it for support in standing up. So just having your chair position near you in a way that is helpful. And if you kind of have weaned yourself off of the chair in your standing postures, move it away. But for those who come to chair yoga for the purpose of having support, I want you to position it such. So give yourself a wide stance so you feel like you've got a nice wide berth here, and that you feel the buoyancy of your knees. And I want you to focus on that you're just shifting your weight, letting your pelvis move side to side. So you're kind of warming up your knees. Side to side movements, just checking it out. Where's your, maybe you find a spot that's like a little tender. So you'll say, well, I'm not going to bend quite that much. You're checking it out. How are your knees doing? Shifting your weight, hips are moving. But really focusing on your knees right now. If you'll notice as you're doing this, your ankles are involved too. So we're warming up the knees. We're also warming up the ankles. So feeling how your body weight is shifting through the soles of your feet and how your ankles are supporting that. Now, while we're doing this pretty simple movement, let's connect with breathing. Let's be sure we're aware of our breath, feeling the smoothness or the rhythm of our own breath. So if you need to catch up and take a few deep breaths and get yourself set up for that, please do that. What do you need to find that connection to the rhythm of your own breath? As we just move our body side to side. Now let's start exaggerating the movement of the hips. So we've kind of warmed up the knees and our ankles. Now let's really exaggerate the movement of your hips. And how your feet and your knees are holding you and supporting you in this movement, this exaggerated movement, taking your hips out of the framework, right? Instead of those stacked joints, you're taking your hips kind of out of that framework, stretching through that. I've got my hands on my hips. It's a way of kind of creating a container, a safety zone that you're just sort of supporting yourself, grounding yourself as your hips are moving outside of that container. Outside of that framework maybe. Now let's start the circular movement. And you're just noticing how your knees adapt to that, how your ankles adapt to that. Again, feeling the whole surface of your feet, how your weight is held in your legs, and how your joints are accommodating your movement. Stay with the same circle that you started with for a little bit longer. Exaggerate the movement, feel your low back, find your breath. Soften your mouth. Now let's change the direction. Get used to that. Your mind kind of fusses with it for a moment. It's not quite as coordinated, maybe. And just watch that, just kind of smile at that, how the mind will sometimes interfere for the craziest reason. Now let's add some more joint movement, but much more balance oriented. So that I want you to bring your feet as close together as you're comfortable, as close together as you can. And we're bending into that. And I want you to start circling your knees here. And notice how your ankles have to accommodate that. So keep the spine long, keep your head elevated. You don't need to look at your feet. Circling around, holding onto your knees in a way that feels supportive. I kind of have a grip on them. My fingers, are kind of gripping in. Same circular direction for a few more circles now. And then we'll change that. Change the direction. Notice your feet, how your ankles had to change. And that's all there is to it. So if you're thinking, am I supposed to be feeling something particular here? No, it's just really gentle movement of the joints. Really helpful though. And then let's hold that in a wider stance. So we're coming up, bringing our feet a little further apart and holding that in a wider stance. Here's the side view. So you're just squatting with a nice long spine. Get your head back in line with the spine. Full breath in and out. See if you can, every once in a while, release your hands. And then maybe you straighten it up because your thighs are burning. So you're going to see about strengthening those thighs. Maybe you grab hold of your chair. Maybe you stand for a minute. Maybe you wag your tail. So I want you to really just move in the way that seems right for you while you're challenging and really warming up those thighs. Last time. And then let's come all the way up. Let's find our mountain pose now. I'm going to suggest you get your block. What would I have done with the block? Here we go. And put it between your shins, down at the lower part of your legs, that narrow place. And squeeze enough that it won't drop, but that's all. And then see if you can imagine that because you're squeezing in with your shins, you're able to pull your thigh bones out. So just imagine that your shins in, thighs out. Feel how your feet adjust to that. Let's pull the belly in, get the shoulder blades back and down, palms face forward, shins in, thighs out. Our mountain pose. Now feel how the bones are adjusting, like you're feeling this differently because the bones are trying to, adhere to this little plan of ours to draw those shins in to squeeze that block a little bit. And I mean, just as little as you can get by with, and still feel that or imagine that your thigh bones now have the freedom to pull away from each other, to pull away from the midline just a bit. Feel how strong your legs are when you're right inside them like that. Now soften something. Maybe your buttock starts to clench. So see if you can soften there. That's it. Let's inhale together. All the way up and overhead. Palms come together. Big inhale. Exhale, bow into yourself. Let's say our word. Hold it there. Inhale back up. Exhale, go wide all the way around. Let's try that again. And inhale goes up. Exhale, bow in. We say our word. Up and all the way around. Good. Let's set the block to the side. And we're coming to use the back of the chair for some movement. I was going to change my mind here, but let's just stay with that. So we're going to just do some abdominal strengthening by lifting that knee high and pulling it back. And you could add to that by bringing your face down to greet it. So you can do it from a stand-up position, just keeping your head held high and you're drawing that bent knee up and extending back. Or you could try to round into a crunch and then extend out, rounding into the crunch, the rounded back, face comes down to meet the knee. In some way. I'm not touching. Let's do 3 more. There's 1. And there's 2. And 3. Then let's shake that out. So we're ready for the other side. And so if there's an adjustment you need to make, maybe you found your stance wasn't quite comfortable, you know to do it now. So we're lifting high and extending, or we're bringing face into that crunch. Pulling the belly button in. It's the movement in and out that is strengthening and toning your abdominal muscles. Find your breath. What's supportive might be into your Ujjayi breath, where you're feeling a little more heat. 2 more. And back to our both feet on the floor. If there's any adjustment your body needs, please reset. Right foot steps forward, left foot stays back. Let's try a stretch for the back of the calf. So you want your calf on that back foot to get a stretch. So as you bend your front leg into that, press that back heel down to the point where you feel that stretch into the calf. And think of it as your pelvis is doing this for you. As you're bending that knee, it's your pelvis is moving toward the chair and you're planting that heel down. Let's hold it now. Keep your heel down Your toes are essentially pointing in the same direction, both feet, toes pointing in the same direction. Let's try a twist here. We're going to let the right arm lift up. So it's the same side as your bent knee. And we're going to reach around behind us, try to get to the back side of that leg, over to the hip. And you can continue to hold on to the chair, or you could spring that arm loose in some way if you feel confident in your balance. You can always hold the chair. You're still in your twist. Let's find the rhythm of our breath. What's our focus word? Say that focus word as you hold this. Stay with it. Drop into your body. And we're going to unwind from that. Step back and just stretch that out in the L shape, extended forward fold. Feet are parallel to one another. You're creating a tabletop of your back body. If you need to bend and straighten your knees, please do so. Makes perfect sense. Flattening out and feeling the nice stretch and reset of the body. Through the armpits, the length of the arm, down through your legs. Grounding through your soles of your feet. Your heel primarily, but not entirely. As we start to come back up, that same right foot is going to step forward, this time straight legs. And I'm going to say that you need to be a little further away from the chair, so you might have to play with this. So straight legs brings us into the pyramid pose. That's where we're going to just let our forehead rest on the back of our chair in some way. I've got this high back chair, so it's not as challenging. I'm going to tip it a little bit. So you might have to play with it depending on the kind of chair you're using. Trying to bring your back body into that tabletop again, where your shoulders are at the same level as your hips. Nice flat back, but both legs are straight. Deepen the breath, back to your focal point, back to your word. And let's come back up. And we'll reset. Left knee bends. Which side are we on here? I think I am right knee bent, and I want to stretch the calf of the left. Do your other leg. Help me out here. Do your other leg. I think I'm off it here. So we're pressing back into that heel. You're trying to parallel your feet so the toes are pointing essentially the same direction, really pressing in, and the hips come forward to help stretch the back of that calf. And you can kind of pulse a little bit. The hips kind of come forward and back as you stretch, and then we'll stabilize that and we'll move into our twist. So same side arm is lifting up. So I've got my left arm up because my left knee is bent. And we're going to reach around behind us for the twist. We want a nice vertical spine. Feel your feet. You might continue to hold onto the chair. That's okay. Or you might try to add the balance component by releasing the hand in some way, just in any way that you want to express this. Let's deepen the breath. Drop into your focus. Feel your body dropping in, grounding itself. And you're just noticing how your shoulder blades open up and the revolved position of the trunk of your body. Let's unwind from that, back to our neutral position. And we're going to step back and stretch it out into that L shape. And When we come up, we step forward again, this time both legs are straight into the pyramid position. So both legs straight, scissored legs. And we're going to create that tabletop position, either folded arms that rest your head. So you're just trying to bring, if you can, your shoulders to the level of your hips, creating that tabletop position, but straight legs. Play with shifting your weight into your feet differently. I feel myself pulling back, 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 but I like to play with trying to really plant my toes to the floor. It means my chest draws forward a little bit. So see if you can play with shifting your weight a little bit. Find the rhythm of your breath to guide you. One more full breath cycle. We'll come back up. And this time I want to switch our legs crisscross. So I'm going to take the left foot and come all the way around so the pinky edge of the feet are together. So you're finding your new center of gravity with your feet positioned in that crisscross position, squeezing your legs in any way that you need to so that you can keep your feet really solid on the ground. Let's move through. I'll turn to this so that you can see me from the front. Let's move through our various arm positions that we practice, that we kind of use the alphabet to help us. So as we center ourselves, feel the balance of this different position with your feet, finding a different center of gravity. You can always keep touching the chair to help you. Let's try lifting up into that Y. So our arms are extended. Let's kind of pull back a little bit with the hands. You'll find a little back bend through the upper thoracic area. Stabilize your low back by pulling the belly in and letting your tailbone drop. Let's move to the T. Palms up, thumbs pointing behind us. Focus now. And we're moving into the L. Bring the elbows into the waist. Palms are open and up. Puff up your chest. Smooth out the breath. Lift up to the Y and into the W. So the elbows bend and pull back. See if you can lift your chest up. Lift your face up a little bit toward the ceiling. Pull back, very much a back bend now. Stabilize the low back. Nice. And let's come back to neutral and release the arms. And we're going to change the leg position. So I want you to kick that out. But we're going to crisscross the other way. So, the other leg is in front. And then resituating, so whatever that takes, how you're trying to fit this into this little puzzle here, squaring your hips and shoulders. Let's extend into that T and take the time to just look from side to side. Pull the belly in, feel the stabilization of your low back. Let's move the head around now. So as you're opening up into the T, turn to look at your hand. Figuring out the range of movement you've got. Spend a little time with it on each side. You don't need to wait for me to give you the direction. We're trying to move and look at each side. You might say, well, one side needs my attention a whole lot more than the other one. So you'll linger there, spend a little more time there. Be very mindful. Focus. Squeeze your legs together. Feel the soles of your feet. Feel this orientation, the shift in orientation that you've created, and how strong your balance is in place. You feel really in charge of your balance. Smooth out the breath. When you're ready, bring your head back to its neutral position. Palms are going to come up, palms together up and overhead. Arms are alongside the ears. Let's sync up our inhale. Exhale right into our own heart. We bow into ourselves. We say our word. Inhale up. Exhale, go wide and all the way around and down. So we'll take the legs back to where they're neutral position and shake that out a little bit. Let's go back to our wider stance, maybe away from the chair. And take your right hand to grab hold of your left wrist. And then that's just going to be a way of directing your body into some circular movement. So right hand has the left wrist, and you're going to kind of pull that arm around. Let that right arm direct what's going on. It's pulling the other arm around. I want you to make circles. Keep your palm facing up, or be aware of how you're facing your palm, whichever you decide that it's mindfully done. And maybe you switch it and just be curious about what's that do when you turn your hand a different way. So circular, nonlinear movement, it's just free. I'm not going to give you any particular directions. I want you to stretch and move and feel the shift of your body weight. Make sure your head and neck are, part of the movement. You're paying attention to that. No strain. And then we're going to twist, draw that across the body and start to twist so that you end up pivoting onto your ball of your foot. To twist across your body, you've got to get off the heel and let that left heel lift up as you turn towards your right. Both feet flat. We're going to bring our arms up, just a crescent shape here. Arm extended over the ear. Turn your head to look toward the ceiling if that's the drishti that works well, or find one that does. Try not to lock your knees. Let's come back to center. Just press the palms up to the ceiling, and we'll switch hands. Switch hands now. And so we're moving around. We've got the left hand moving that right arm around. Pay attention. Find the rhythm of movement and breath that serves you well. Full breath in and out. Let's try that twist. As you come all the way around, you're going to pivot so you're onto the ball of the foot. That right heel comes up. You pull that right arm across the body as you turn towards your left. Continuing to hold that wrist. Let's get both feet to the floor. Crescent shape over top of the head. Find your drishti. Try to let your arms lengthen with as little bend in the elbow as you can on both arms. Don't lock your knees. Get back to your breath in and out. Exhale completely. Good. Let's come back up. And again, you're just pushing your hands up like you're lifting some weight up to the ceiling. And then while you've got your arms up, let's just position ourselves to the chair so we can stretch that out into that L shape. Now, listen to your body. My low back is saying, I need a little help here. So I'm going to start rounding, finding some curls. So you pay attention to what your body is needing. Bend your knees however you need to. Think tabletop with your back body, and then let your hips do the movement as much as possible. As we come back upright, last thing here before we sit, I want you to lift your heels way up high and then drop them down so your toes can come up. So you're just rocking your feet, stretching the feet, toes come up, heels come up. Now just switch it so it's like you're walking in place where one heel at a time lifts up. Feel that in your toes. Just notice the sensation. I speak right up, I'm feeling in my toes, but you might have a different experience. So just notice the sensation. Excellent. Both feet to the floor. Let's just take a pause right where you are. Close your eyes now. Find your mountain position so it's intentional, strong, purposeful, and eyes closed, just to take kind of an assessment of how you're feeling. And bringing yourself back to your focal point. Exhale completely. Good. So let's make our way to our seated position, but we got a particular way we're going to do that. I'm going to move my block. So start, you're going to, I should have given you a side view. So let me just give you a side view here. So you're in front of your chair. I want you to practice that squatting, like you're going to sit, but then you don't. So see if you can do that a couple times where you hover above the chair, come back up. Let your arms kind of counterbalance, or hands could be right at your thighs where you're just really supporting your legs and supporting your knees maybe to come up and down in the squat. So just maybe a couple more. And then we'll make our way into our seated position. We're not into the back rest, we're forward of that. We're bringing our block to the floor between our feet. So you've got your ankles connected to that block and you're in that upright position without the use of the back rest if you can. Take a moment now to just situate yourself. Maybe you close your eyes down and turn your palms up on your lap. Mindfully breathe through the whole breath cycle all the way in. Pause, and all the way out, and pause. Breathing in and out through the nose or using your mouth, whichever way it feels most natural and restful. Steadying for you. Good. Let's open the eyes and we're going to move through our cow-cat movement. So the arms are going to slide across the chair's frame as you let your chest come forward and you've arched your back body. Pull the belly in toward your spine as you round through the back, and we're moving through the spine. Just think of it as pumping, that there is just a treasure of energy that is pooled in your pelvis, and you're pumping, moving that pump of the spine to distribute that energy throughout the body. All the movements that you did standing up was accomplishing that very same thing. Exaggerate the movements. You want to feel this in every vertebrae moving, feeling stretch, feeling your awareness to it, noticing as much as you can exactly what's going on. Couple more now, stay with it. This is where we apply tapas. Remember that word? That was from our yamas, and that is the discipline. The fire. That's a niyama. Sorry about that. Let's hold now as we round the back body and our fingers are reaching forward. We're going to fold forward now. Come forward, forward, forward. So maybe you can drape yourself down and your armpits will fit over your knees. You're going to look down and underneath yourself. Feel free to open up your feet wider. Match your feet with your knees. Look down and under. Surrender the weight of your head. Big belly breaths. Take the block and move it a little forward so it's no longer positioned between your ankles. It's going to be forward, almost lined up with your toes. Let's jump our hands to our thighs. Come up halfway as you squeeze your elbows into your waist. And we're going to take our right hand to touch that block and our left hand at the sacrum, at the low back, the boniness of the sacrum, turning into a twist. One hand at a block between your feet. Try to squeeze your legs in toward the midline. That's going to be a little more discipline. If your legs are kind of taking a wide stand, then just go with that. Set yourself up for the wide stance. And then let's see if we can get that back hand to go airborne. So we're reaching up toward the ceiling. One hand down, floor by way of the block. One hand reaching up. Full breath in and out. And then find your position, your best position with your legs and stick with it. Stay if you can be disciplined to what you've chosen that seems to fit your body and is giving you the challenge you're looking for. Find your focal point, find your word. Let's unwind. Hands are both on the thighs. We're coming up. We're going to move back into our cow and cat movement, pumping that spine. If there's a reset your body needs after what we just did, if there's some other movement that your body is craving, that's your choice. That's what you'll want to be doing. Listen to your body as your wise guide. That's the best teacher. Again, we're going to meet with the rounded back. We're going to keep reaching forward, forward, forward. So our armpits lay right over our knees. We look down and underneath ourselves. Keep your sit bones down on the chair. Try not to lift up. Finish each breath all the way through. Hands jump to the thighs. Squeeze your elbows into your waist so you're in this halfway mark. This time the left hand comes to the block and we start to rotate. So your right hand is at the sacrum, low back region, that very base of the spine. You could choose to hold it right there. Extending the arm is just an option. It's a way to further express this. So if you want to do that and ready for it, lift up. And then you find your drishti. What's the best way to turn your head that you can hold it there? It might be challenging, but not too challenging. And you can breathe through it. It's an ease of breath. Focus. Find your word. Full breath in and a full breath goes out. Feel your feet really pushing into the ground. Strength of your legs. On your next exhale, we'll bring that hand down. We got both hands on the thighs again. Squeeze those elbows in. Lift up your chest into that halfway mark, that diagonal angle of your back body. Let's spread our wings like the airplane. Imagine the block is between your thighs, so you're kind of squeezing that imaginary block to support your strong legs, to give you guidance, to strengthen those legs. Push into your legs. Use your arms too. Lifting up, palms come together, up and overhead. Inhale with me and exhale. Inhale and go wide. I'm going to move my block under the chair so it's not in the way. I want you to practice maybe coming forward on your chair just as much as possible. And let's just get that right leg to extend away from us. So the sole of the foot is down, toes are pointing forward, and you're just trying to position yourself, getting yourself as close to the front edge of the chair as you can, and to keep that leg straight. So just practice that. Maybe get your hand on your thigh. It's this little bend of the knee as you can. So a straight leg would be great. And then just let's move the other leg so that our toes, instead of the toes pointing forward, we're going to turn it so the toes angle out. So you've got a bent knee with the toes pointing in this direction. This back leg, toes are pointing forward. Look what we've got. I'm going to use my chair. I've got this perfect chair for this. You may need to kind of settle for what your chair will manage to hold your body up into this warrior position. This is the position of the warrior two. Let's keep our hands on our legs to really ground ourselves here. This lengthened leg, that's going to be our real focus, to keep that foot on the ground, that you feel the connection. This one feels, it's easy to feel that weightiness of your leg. That one will be efforting, not that. Try to get a verticality of your spine upright and extend the arms. One hand is dropping to the thigh The other one is reaching to the sky. So your bent knee, that side of your body, that arm is lifting up to the sky. The other hand is resting on that extended leg. Let's bring our elbow. Now our left elbow is on our thigh. So you can see that angle. Now we're going to slide that arm right across our ear. Feel the length of your body. Breathe into that expansion. And you're trying to lengthen everything. Just feel like this intention of this is expansion in every way possible. Let that top arm just kind of swing yourself back to a neutral position, and then let's just reposition ourselves back center of the chair. Just find your mountain now and reset the body. So if there's anything your body needs now to reset from that, please do it. See what your spine needs, see if your neck needs some care, anything at all. And then we'll do the other side. So again, we're as far forward as we feel we can go, and we're extending out now. Straight leg down, toes are pointing forward, direction of the front of you. Ground through the top, the whole surface of your foot, and straighten out that leg. No bend in the knee. Just take a moment. Use your hand to kind of press into it. It's a way of meeting any resistance with loving awareness. So you're bringing your hand to it. That's a way of taking care of your nervous system. Bringing your hand, calming down, feeling that strength. Now we want to turn the other foot this way. So you're going to maybe step a little wider. I'm going to adjust myself here so that my foot can turn. So in the direction of that, my knee is bending. And just resituating yourself on your chair, depending on what your chair will allow. I'm on the very edge, the very front edge, but I've got plenty of support. My body weight is entirely held by the chair. Get as vertical as you can with your spine. It's not perfect. Get hands on your legs or in your hips, wherever you need to, for as long as you need to. Let's find the breath and find its rhythm. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, you extend the arms. Make sure that extended leg, you're feeling some real connection to the ground over there. Smooth out the breath. I want you to turn to look towards your right hand. That hand is reaching to the sky, and the other hand is reaching to the thigh. Expand now. I'm going to try this side angle. So we're going to bring our elbow or our forearm to that thigh and reach up and overhead. More expansion. Alongside your ear. Coming back to our neutral position where our arms are expanded here, just open up into that T, and we'll bring ourselves out of it. Just take your time, getting your legs back together, back to your mountain pose, and maybe resituating yourself into the chair with a little more support. Inhale up, palms come together. Exhale, heart. Find your focus word. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Bring your body all the way down. Look underneath yourselves. Lift up halfway, either hands to the thighs or maybe your shins as you lift up halfway. Fold again. Inhale with me all the way up and exhale down. That's our sun salutation. Let's try it again. Inhaling up. Exhale, heart. Inhale up, palms face forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back to the fold. Inhale, come up in any way. Maybe your hands are at your waist. And exhale all the way down, arms alongside the chair. Just take a pause now. Turn your palms to face forward in your mountain pose. Full breath in Full breath out. Okay, our favorite pose, the hip opening. So I want you to practice getting one leg up and down without the use of your arms and hands. Maybe you hold on to the chair so you're not tempted. So you're just patterning that leg to find this range of movement. And see if this time you can really see if you can turn your ankle. Get your ankle involved in this too, where you're turning your foot. You're just going to say, I don't know, I'm just going to try to lift my foot or something so that my ankle is also patterning into a different movement. The standing leg, let's just bring ourselves into the figure 4 now and make sure your standing leg is well positioned so you've got a good support for this hip opening. I want you to draw your foot in ankle and heel right into your crease of your leg as close as it will go, and then we're going to massage that, trying to drop that leg into more of a horizontal position. Anywhere that your body seems to be craving your touch and your massaging, let's just follow that lead. And then I want you to move into moving your foot around, that you're kind of massaging your foot and spreading your toes. Get your hands involved in the care of your feet here. Keep your spine long. Let's not cave in after all of our effort in keeping ourselves long and lengthened here. Let's stay tall as we sit here, but let's spread the toes, massage around the ball of your foot into the arch, whatever your foot's needing, your heel. I don't know what your foot needs. So you're just pressing those thumbs in, giving it a massage, moving it around. I like to just grab hold of the toes and start to move around. Let's bring our hands now across the shins. You may be feeling a plenty stretch already, and so you'll just hold that. If you want to deepen that, let's try a pulsing movement that you're bringing your chest forward and then you come back. So position your hands in any way that supports it. Hands could drape across the shin, or you could just let them be on your thighs in some way to support your upper body. So not quite so much body weight is coming forward. So some pulsing movement. Let's employ that really powerful breath practice where every exhale has your belly, the abdominal wall really narrow. You're pulling your belly button in towards your spine for those exhales more powerfully than ever. You've got all kinds of abdominal action going on to help you bend or fold, I should say, fold forward. Keep your head, neck, and spine in alignment. In other words, pay attention to the weight of your head and then just deepen this fold as best you can. We've tried it various ways. Pulling in the belly muscles is the best technique I can offer you. I'm sure you have found a few things for yourself in your own body and your own practice that benefits you. Let's breathe and move forward. Stay with your own body. You don't need to look at the screen. There's no reason to. You're opening your hip. You're breathing through the tremendous sensation. I'm going to bet every one of us feels a lot of sensation in this. Exhale through it completely as best you can, with your belly very engaged. Hold way in. Soften something. Make sure you're paying attention to your neck and how the weight of your head is being managed. Let's exhale completely. We'll get our hands on our thighs, way up by the crease. Come up slow. And then again, we're going to release our hands. They're not going to help. And we're going to bring that foot back to the floor and back up. I don't know about you, but it's harder on this tail end of it than it was on the front end of it, because my knee is saying, please help me. So it's just stiff. It's, there's no problem with my knee. I can really tell that, but it was stiff. And then both feet to the floor. Any other reset your body needs? Maybe you do need to give your knee some care or some ankle work here. When you're ready, only when you're ready, we'll start the other side. So you start to, remember to add the turn of your foot. So you're getting your ankle involved here. You want to turn your sole of your foot up, or some way that you feel that you've done something different to get your ankle in motion as well. Keep your spine long, upright body. And then let's set it up. So bring your foot in toward the crease. Make sure your standing leg is well positioned. We'll start with massaging, trying to let that thigh bone drop down a little bit. You can push. I know we're well practiced. Every one of us who's on board today, well practiced. So you know your body. Try to challenge yourself, that you're not just kind of babying yourself all the time, but that you know that you can push, you can challenge yourself a little. And we're going to move into the foot. I want you to give some tender loving care to this foot as well. Massage it, spread the toes, see if you can put your fingers in between your toes. Any kind of movement, use your thumbs to really kind of dig into the ball of the foot or the arch, the heel, whatever needs it. This isn't just a drive-by, you're not just going to get by this and then move on to something real meaningful. This is meaningful. I want you to stay with it, pay attention to how it feels. I'm telling you, we've got to take good care of our feet, keep supple movements available. We have hardened toes, feet that won't move. We're not going to balance well. We're not going to walk well. So when you're ready, draping the hands across your shin, if that's a good way to start. But let's try pulsing. So you're going to bring your chest forward, folding into it. Keep your head, neck, and spine in alignment. If the pulsing doesn't suit you, just go for it. Find the way that you like to enter into it. Remember the narrow space of the abdominal wall. That's our real powerful breath practice that works so well for this. Pull the belly in. Keep it drawn in while you exhale. Soften your mouth. Maybe you want to lengthen that exhale. Maybe it's a good time to focus now and bring your word to your awareness. Again, try to exhale completely. Stay with the sensation. Two more full breaths. You'll jump your hands to your thighs to bring yourself upright. Take your time now, a little bit of an inversion, and then we'll get that foot down and back up again, make a few rounds of that pattern of movement. Excellent. Let's just kick them out, get some reset here. Make sure your knees feel tended to. And now it's time to scoot yourself back and lay into the backrest of the chair for our Savasana. Close your eyes at your earliest opportunity. Maybe you'll turn your palms up on your lap to be open to receive. Let the chair hold you. Scan your body with your loving awareness, and the scanning is a way of invitation to relax and settle in. Release, relax, and settle in. This is sacred space that we've created where we do our practice. That was part of our discussion when we were last together, Pratyahara, and we were just beginning the process of the meditation aspect of the limbs of yoga. And creating sacred space is just a really great idea, wonderful gift to yourself. So this can be it, by just inviting that idea that just here in this chair, eyes closed, you have created sacred space. Relax your mouth. Go to that part of your body that seems to always hold tension. Maybe even you bring your hand there. What if it's your neck and shoulders? There's no reason that you wouldn't just bring your hands right to that part of your body. Squeeze, massage, take care of. As you breathe in and breathe out. All the way in and all the way out. Softness of the belly. Relax your feet. Relax your legs in their entirety. Feel it like a veil is lifted. More and more spaciousness, more and more freedom. Just that release. Mary Oliver's poem. The name of this is Mysteries, Yes. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of the lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. Take a full breath in through the nose. Exhale out of your mouth like a sound of a sigh. Ah. Inhale. Sigh it out. Ah. One more time, a cleansing breath like that. Ah. Keep your eyes closed as you simply pull yourself away from the chair's backrest. So you're sitting upright. Eyes are still closed. Rub your palms together right in front of your heart. Interlace those fingers and stretch your palms out away from your heart, right in front of you. And then lift up so the palms are reaching up toward the sky. As we release our interlaced hands, just let your arms gently fall back along your body and back to your lap. Palms up. Let's breathe in and breathe out one more time. We focus on our word that we chose as we're endeavoring to understand Dharana, the focused concentration of yoga. Let's bring palms together at the heart space, the Anjali Mudra, as we bow into ourselves and to one another. Namaste, my friends. Thank you, everyone.